Oh, hello, my sweet. So won't you come with me? There's oh so much to show in this grimdark distillery. So if you like bullshit or want some hobby tips, this nightmare priest, nigh unbinary herald magnificent welcomes you. Hello, my sweets. Hi, possum. Good morning. How are you? Um, Today I've only got the camera up, this camera. Also, I thought I would have a kid hanging out with me in here, but I guess he decided to go cry elsewhere in the basement. He might have even gone upstairs. Nope, there he is. Hey, you, come here. We're going to want his opinion too, because he also watched the documentary. He said it was so good he couldn't keep his eyes open the whole time. I'm just trying to be a little preemptive here because I know in a few moments I'm going to get screamed at until I do that. So, I posted about a movie in the Discord and you gotta watch it. Hell yeah. No, I'm down with that. So yesterday, for the first time, I watched Seven Samurai. And I get why it's got 100% and a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 8.69 BB. It's fucking amazing. So I'm really pumped that I finally watched that. But again, it's like a 3.5 hour long movie, but it does not feel that way at all. Again, masterful film. Um, Pretty much defined the genre like of samurai films, and also like the rain scenes like are just it's stunning that they were able to do that like in 1950s like that. It's just nuts, to me at least. So yeah, I figured today I'm going to be talking about The Grim and the Dark, The Search for John Blanche, the documentary, which I know Beer Games are producers on it. I don't know how much directing and whatnot they had to do, as far as that goes. But full disclosure, I'm affiliated with those guys. They are close friends. Um, but I cannot stress that enough. If anything, that means that my critiques are harsher because I expect a lot from like my friends and peers, and like I cannot stress enough how apprehensive I was going into it, because grimdark, or grimdark, like just storytelling, grimdark as an aesthetic, grimdark as words, are so overused that you worry about it being watered down, because it's watered down in other parts of the community. So hearing that they were making a documentary, I definitely was apprehensive at first, because I thought, how the hell? I think I literally had that conversation with Johnny, is how the hell could you condense down what grimdark is in 2 hours, much less an hour and a half? Um, and I will say that they did that. They did that in a very impressive way. And I have to say that, like, it's very clear that Cody and Eric had a lot of, involvement, if not like defining the direction, uh, because it's so very clear the place that it comes from, which is love of the aesthetic, of the art, of the community. And that was my biggest concern. My biggest concern was that it would just be John Heater as Napoleon Dynamite looking at a bunch of Warhammer stuff, um, which is not the case at all. Essentially, it starts with John Heater trying to find something to get his son for a birthday present, hitting up Eric, who is a friend of his, and trying to get his help figuring out anything about tabletop gaming. Is it about the concept of Grimdark or about the 28 community? That's hard because it's about both. Um, it it starts with them going to a game store. Uh, Incidentally, that game store is Asgard Games in Houston. Yeah, Houston. And it is during the Visterian event. So it's very fun being able to look while they're walking around and whatnot, and just constantly see all the people that were there. It was very wonderful. My beautiful face is not in it. I was sleeping, which is very funny. The interview they do with Bill, who, again, very, very key person. The people that they interviewed, I did not think, man, they shouldn't have interviewed that person about a single person. Everyone that they interviewed was great. I guess that's my negative thing. Ooh, 0 out of 10. Yeah, I know. And they talked to the Wires and Isaac and John Bland. It's just awful. I'm trying to think of the best way to put those words together. And I didn't want to write anything down because that makes me not feel like it feels scripted. I don't fucking like that. So essentially, by going there and looking at the games and just kind of going and jumping into the deepest end of the pool as you can, as far as getting into like tabletop gaming, going to a 28 event where everything is like, so much work has been put into it as opposed to just trying to start out. It's very, very awesome, the stuff that they showed. So you guys get a lot of footage of Visterion. Some of my work is featured, and I was very happy about that. But again, that doesn't have anything to do with my opinion of it, and I would happily, not have my stuff in there to have someone else's. Like if they are, an important member of the community, and I think that they have really made an impact. That's it. That's the only complaint I have is I wish it was longer, and I wish there was more. That's a good one. So John Heater, I do want to talk about that. The weakest part of the movie is John Heater. And if he wasn't, it would be a shitty documentary. I can't stress that enough. Initially, I was very much just like, why are they getting Napoleon Dynamite to be in this movie? And essentially it goes back to Community. I know that they have a relationship with John Heater. So it's just and that's really what the 28 community is about. That's really what the grimdark aesthetic has made with the 28 community, is it is a bunch of people that have the same outlook and desire to create. And that is pretty much what the movie is about. The movie is about them going to the game store, finding out about, grimdark as an aesthetic, hearing Isaac, the Wires, Bill, the people, I'm trying to think, Jimmy. I'm trying to think and make sure I got everybody that they interview. But they interview them, and he asks questions about pretty much just what you would ask to just kind of tiptoe into the community. And then from there, pretty much they say, yeah, you need to go to Finland because that's where a very large amount of people in the 28 community and who have an impact on grim, dark art are. They're in Finland. Or, the northern Europe, like where it's cold, dark for like a month, that kind of stuff. The grim, dark place. So they go and they talk to Tomas, which is wonderful. It's, again, I think one of the biggest worries that I had outside of it being like, is it going to be pandering? Is it going to be misrepresenting? Those were all squashed. But the fact that it's just like, yep, they go and they talk to the guy who made Mordheim. And now, Trench Crusade, he's working on Trench Crusade. Oh, yeah, well, they didn't interview them at Houston, but they also, talked to Mike Francina, who, again, huge impact on grimdark as an aesthetic. So you have Tomas made Mordheim, which is one of the most grimdark games ever, because it's just it's so horrible. Everything is horrible about Mordheim, and that's why I love it so much. And it's also just brutal as shit. Like, and it likes to smash the Beatles. I love a game where it's like, yep, we all know that we're smashing the Beatles, and that's part of the fun. Yeah, so he talks a little bit about grimdark, the aesthetic, about the origins of it. And they do, of course they have to talk about the big elephant in the room, because there's no way not to. But it's not a Warhammer movie or documentary. I guess that's it. Like, I was also worried that it would be too watered down and only focus on one thing, and it does not at all. Hi Theo, you're so cute. So talking to Tomas, they get a little bit more into what narrative gaming is and how the blending of RPG and tabletop wargaming. Tomas drops a fuck ton of knowledge on that. Really, really good. It's really good. And then from there, they talk to, I'm not going to remember her name, but an author, a very, a well-known author in the grimdark scene. And that's the other thing that I really appreciated. And I don't know who had the most, input on that as far as, direction and whatnot and what they made. But from the conversation that I had with Cody at Adepticon about what we want to do with our different endeavors, I feel like it had to have been both, because Eric and Cody are both very much on the same page. But what I really love about it is they somehow were able, and I couldn't do this. I would just rant and I would rave, and it would just kind of end. That's kind of how a documentary would go if I made it, and you would just be like, man, they didn't touch on a lot of stuff. And it's like, because you can't. There's so much stuff. But being able to look at it from the top down and see what are key focal points and the places that it goes into that, like, I didn't even think about. I didn't even think about, they have the sound engineer, the artist who made the music for Dark Tide, and he worked on a bunch of other stuff. They interview him, and that I loved that, because that is one of the last things I think of when I'm like, man, yeah, grimdark is music, which is insane, because as a musician, I would think that, but it's very odd that I did not even put together. It's just like, yeah, of course that guy is important interview, because sound and music, audio is so important to making you feel there. And if you watch a movie that has shit sound, real quick, much less a game. 2016 Doom, that soundtrack bangs so fucking hard. Like, that game would not be anywhere as wonderful as it is without Mick Gordon's just stupid good soundtrack. It seriously wouldn't. So, and I don't remember their names. I was not familiar with their work prior. Of course, I appreciated it as far as Dark Tide. I've always been like, man, Dark Tide's got a fucking banger of a soundtrack. But I love that they did not just focus on miniatures. They did not just focus on art. They did not just focus on music. They looked at the whole spectrum, and to that extent, they also go and they interview Matty Knuckles, which if you don't know him, that would be Knucklebone Miniatures, who is absolutely just wonderful. Everyone that they interviewed has such a clear love of the craft and of the art and of the aesthetic, and it, eventually they end up talking to Alexander Winberg, which you may or may not know as the former, head, the lead director, president, whatever, of the 28 Mag, of 28 Mag. And anyone that does not know that the impact that he has had on our community, you should look into him a little bit, because, and again, this is why I really was impressed by it, because the people that they talk to are all so different, but they're all so the same. We all have something that we love so much that we can't help but do the thing. But everyone has a different part to play in it. That's really it. But Alexander and Cody are two people, and Eric, three people that pretty much said, hey, I want to take this, the thing I love, and I want to put it out there and share it with the world. And that is one of the absolute scariest things that you can do as an artist. Putting yourself out there means that you are inviting in, people's opinions, people's thoughts, people's comments, and whether or not they actually, you actually take anything from that, you're still putting yourself out there, and that is absolutely horrifying. especially the kind of community we have, which is extremely insular. It is a very solitary hobby, making things and painting things, unless you make it not. It's not something naturally that you're like, hey, let's go over here and build this thing, unless that's the kind of friend group that you have very close. But typically, you start that journey kind of alone. And I think that it's very clear also that a lot of the people that their art, I don't think that you can get as personal with your art with other people. I think you have to fix that inside for yourself, to be able to showcase that. And Alexander and Pure Games loved the community and the art enough to figure out how to do that. And that is extremely impressive to me, because again, just getting up and doing the damn thing is hard. But getting up and doing the damn thing and knowing that you're now taking on the burden of, not the burden, but the weight of the community. Like, you don't want to fuck it up because you have, I want the niche movie to be made. Nicer. Nature. It sounds like a good movie, but I want the Nature movie to be made. It's pretty niche. Essentially though, not to ramble, but Alexander pretty much just talks about where the 28 community came from, the impact it's kind of had, the humor, kind of explaining the black humor of grimdark. I want it deeper. Yes, and that's it. Like that's my complaint is I wish it was longer. I want more. That's it. I want more of everybody. And I don't think that it would have been good. So as far as the John Heater, I don't think that it would have been as appealing or as presentable if it was someone who was within the 28 community, or someone who is familiar, because it's so difficult to explain something that is so core to part of who you are to someone that kind of knows, because then you want to reference things that you know that they know, because it becomes easier. So having to actually explain it to someone like they know nothing about it, and he didn't, like that's a thing, is it's very clear, like you get the questions that he clearly was just like, hey, what about this? And that's a big thing when people ask, what is grimdark? You have to figure out where the hell to even begin. And I think that they really did a good job making it to where someone says, hey, what's grimdark? And it's just like, well, if you got an hour and a half, you'll have a very, very, very good understanding of what grimdark is. And it, culminates. Yeah, it pretty much, it ends with them visiting John Blanche. And every bit of that is wonderful, heavy, and very passionate. It's just that it's the entire segment with John Blanche is just wonderful. And someone online asked, hey, do they go into the origins of grimdark? Absolutely. Like Mr. Grimdark explains to you where that term came from, and he tells you, who actually wrote that line, and that is rough. And it's just emotional. It's an emotional thing because, again, this is like someone's passion, like something that they love, and seeing how much they clearly love it and hearing them talk about, hearing John talk about why he paints how he paints, why he draws how he draws, why he makes what he makes, is very powerful. And it's very relatable. It's like, yep, all this tracks. Like everyone that pretty much goes into why they make what they make is very relatable. I had a conversation with Trey and Ryan. It came from I don't know the Dice Room 4 about the history of the scene and how I feel like there is a history that isn't quite touched upon anymore. Anywhere. Yeah, that's it. And they go into that, like, and the Wires have a wonderful, the Wire interview is wonderful. it very much is it's made clear that Grimdark is not a product. It's not something that a company can own and sell. They can hire an artist and he can make something, but like they don't own that. And that is very important. Um, because I think so many people just assume, Grimdark, and they think of Warhammer. And that is the origin of it. And that I feel we as a community are very close to losing any view in that history in those events. Yeah, no. I know uh, Tim Howling Mad Lupin, is working on chronicling as far as like stickers and stuff like that. And I know that the Hive Scum guys have wanted to make some kind of like living history. And I absolutely support that. It's as far as the 28 scene and that kind of stuff. But again, it's such a colossal endeavor to try and keep track of all of that because the community has grown so much. And I mean, I think the people that really love the community only want it to keep growing. I think that the Wires are doing amazing, keeping up with current events, and I want that. But for events further back, yeah. Now, as far as that, the majority of like older events, like say the Pilgrim, and anything before that, like the Yig board, that is all on. Let's say that was Tears of Isfin, and then Neo 101s. It's oh yeah, Johan. They also have Johan. They have an interview with Johan, which I'm always excited to hear anything Johan has to say. He is great and a very pivotal like person in the 28 scene. He's made a very big impact. I could just ramble about it all day, but yeah, I think the movie is 100% worth your time. Absolutely would watch again. Will watch again. The version that I watched is, I believe, the same one that they aired at Nova. So it is a screening copy, so it's not the final one, but everything that I saw, I enjoyed. There were anything that kind of was like, well, I kind of got a little like, it was very quickly squashed. Things like the Colossi of Rosum Secundus and other events that aren't as widely known and only documented on blogs that can vanish at any point in time. Yeah. A few of the old blogs that talked about early events no longer exist. Exactly. So no, you're right. That is something that it is important as far as knowing the history of our community and knowing where that starts and who impacted that, because I couldn't help but think the like after watching like a couple of different interviews with Alexander, and then it skips to Cody and Eric, and they talk, and it's wild because during the Visterion event, I mean, I had a very emotional time there. It was a very important time for me. So being able to talk about like who I am and that kind of stuff very freely, and knowing that the people that are around me care about me, and then having them tell me that like, yeah, that's art, man, you make art. That meant so much to me. And then to talk further about, all the stuff and the passion and why I make what I make. Cody pretty much was like, I had we did an interview for this, and I pretty much was talking about the same thing. And it's that. And it reminded me of Alexander after I got back from Adepticon. I was like, hey, tell the Trench Crusade boys that I'm sorry for being a psychopath. But I want to make sure that before I, attach my cart to someone else's horse or donkey or whatever have you, if I'm carrying it, I want to make sure that we're on the same page, because I cannot afford that. Just personally, I cannot afford to be with people that are not in it for the same reasons and love the things that I love, because then I love very, very, very hard, very, very strong, like obsessively. I obsessively have to make stuff and create. So it's just hearing him pretty much. He said, the company that you keep shows a lot about you, and I absolutely agree with that. because everyone in the movie, I think, is a very much someone that needs to be in the movie. You need to know about them. If you don't know about them, you need to look into them, because it's not just one person, and that is one of the things that I think really is nailed down very well. That yes, it stems from Alan Merritt and John Blanche. As far as the term, the aesthetic, that's John Blanche. The term, that's Alan Merritt, and they touch on that. It's a community though, and it's people wanting to share what they love and express themselves, and that's very, very, very important. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. I think so. Let me take a peek at this. A few of the old blogs that talked about early events no longer exist. Iron Sleet between the Vulture and me covered the Pilgrim event relatively well, but anything before that is not nearly documented well. Dragon Age Turbo Lasers has some interviews with people with some of the other events too, but you sort of had to search for them. Yeah, when I first learned about this side of the hobby, I remember crawling through blogs trying to hoover up anything I could. But even though I only found it like 5-ish years ago, I think some of those blogs have found dark. Yeah, so I know, man, I'm not going to remember that off the top of my head. Neil 101's blog, which is amazing. Neil 101's blog, there's a bunch of forums and posts on Daka Daka and the Ammo Bunker, small, weird, obscure places, because that's all that we had at the time. I can't say enough that you guys are doing such important work, and it's incredibly appreciated. Absolutely. Absolutely. The interviews that you all did, I thought were wonderful. I loved everything, every comment you all made, and that's another thing. It's just it's not a Warhammer documentary. It's not a Games Workshop documentary for damn sure. There's a lot of former employees there in the documentary that give their opinion and give their feedback on it, but it's not anything about pushing their products by any means whatsoever. If anything, possibly the opposite. Hello, Theodore. You're a goob. So, before I was interrupted with some kicks. Yeah, no, that is absolutely something important that we should work on, is documenting. I don't have that skill set, but moving forward, I suppose. Yeah, everything that you guys have documented is wonderful. It really is, and I really do wish that some of those older blogs were still around. But yeah, the Outguard, that's a big one. Alexander hosted that one, I'm pretty sure, along with Lund, Alexander Lund, that the Finnish side of the crew. But yeah, no, it's really good. I've talked about that for 30 minutes now. I'd say, unless you guys have any questions or whatnot, I think that's probably where I will stop on that. I'm going to have to change some gears, including moving this guy. And he's not going to like that. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Ham. But yeah, no, I really, really would recommend it. The reason that I was able to view the documentary was after reaching out to, sending an email to Bamboo Labs, after we discussed sponsorship and stuff like that for the distillery. I reached out to them and I wrote an email, and I was just like, man, I messaged Cody and I was just like, I really wish that every business relationship that I had was as easy as it was with you guys in Turbo Dork, where I pretty much just get to go up and be like, I like to play games where you take a stick and kill God, and I'm out of games to play to do that, so I just want to do that now. And you not look at me like I'm a psycho, but also be like, yeah, we fuck with that guy, because that's, I don't know, it's just it was very good. It was very good, and it's for having my standards as high as they needed to be to make sure that our community was well represented. They are absolutely met and exceeded, because I would not, the amount of people that they include that I did not even think to include, but are important, is great. It's wonderful. So I really, 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 really would recommend it. I'm going to have to change gears here a little bit. You're going to have to get out of the lap, son. I might go ahead and put on the BRB real quick, just because this guy's gonna fight me, and then it's probably gonna be a little bit noisy. So I'll be back in like 5 minutes while I get the rest of this stuff set up. I will see you guys in just a second. Back in the corner I go. Oh my gosh, look at that. Also, I cleaned my area. Look at that, guys. Holy shit. I'm gonna do something. No, I'm not waiting for that. I'm gonna work on grief. Jingle jingling. Also, this might be. No, it's not a good time to try that because I don't want to do that on screen. So, where you know? Yeah, you guys have any other questions or anything like that? Mowgli, welcome. Also, Adam, welcome. Thank you. And no worries. It's always wonderful to have you, no matter what. Late or otherwise. Better late than never, they say. Alrighty. So, bring you guys up to speed on everything else. I'll go get my cake. Yesterday I made another cake. It's this one. That is a reference to lathering a piece of wood in a bunch of filler and glue and covering it in baking soda. That's the main part about the cake. And then also sand. So this is going to be the board. Once it's dried, I'm going to start painting that today. So it should be dry shortly. It's still just a little damp. But I'm really excited. The texture should be very, very, very good. Hey, you know what? It might help if I put my mic back on. That way you're not listening to me out of the, across the room and whatnot. Yeah, so pretty much the cake, because it's a big round 2-foot circle, is covered in baking soda and hermit crab sand, aka calcium bicarbonate, which is very, 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 very small ground up seashells, that kind of stuff. That would be your hermit crab sand. Papers here. All right, cool. And super glue. You grab just a little bit of super glue. So, as far as what I was going to say I should grab, I picked up new vise. So I guess we could at least take a peek at that. And like everything from Disbay, it's fucking nuts. As far as quality. So I'll go ahead and put that there just so you can see. So yeah, it comes in a box like this. You open it. You got the nice thank you. All the little bits. And the vise, which is heavy as shit. I'm gonna just turn it upside down. You could kill someone with this. 100%. Like, it is everything, like everything made from Disbay. It is. I don't know how. I mean, it is very heavy. But yeah, the box, the packaging, everything is wonderful. As always, the number one thing I look for is functionality, and this is the smoothest bearing I've ever encountered in my life. But it is nuts how practical it seems, because The weight means that I can, I'm just going to show you. Weight means that I can put something like grief in these little grips and it will stay. And I don't have to worry about it falling because, again, that thing is heavy. I'm just going to do a little unscrewing. Yeah, all of the Display products are crazy quality packaged. And then the machining is also just damn near perfect. I'm going to, right there, so we can get a little bit better grip on the lip as well as the support underneath. And I can turn that now that, yeah, that's nuts. So yeah, now I have 360 degrees that I can turn this. As far as locking in the angle, that is this one right here. Nope, that's not. Where is it that I'm thinking is on the side? There we go. Yeah, that thing's nuts. Yeah, it is crazy. I would not have honestly believed that something could hold something that up and not constantly be falling, which it definitely does have a little bit. This is also not level. There's a couple different things about this that are not ideal for showing this off currently. Again, I just pulled it out of the box. So yeah, definitely grief is very heavy. And I might need to turn this thing. Let's see. And I could absolutely have, clamped it at a different angle that would be better. There we go. That's probably the angle I'd want them at if I was going to hold them at an angle. But yeah, this definitely would be very good for anything not monstrous, and the weight on these guys is just crazy because, again, you've seen how they're made. So yeah, that I would probably need to figure out a different way to get it to stay. Oh hey, which definitely could involve using this as a brace. Or something to like kind of hold it up. But the other way. Little leg. Come on, Grief. Grief, it's not just about you right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fuck with this thing more with Grief. But yeah, as far as anything smaller than Grief, I'm very confident that it would hold it in place. Without turning, I need to figure that out a little bit better before I just present it. But first impressions, very good. Again, very solid. If it wasn't dealing with something so oddly shaped and the weight being so what it is, I have no doubt that it would hold it. But I need to figure out it a little bit more than just, opening it up and going from there. But yeah, everything that they make, I'm very, very impressed with the quality. Again, they're not sponsored. I'd like them to be. They're more than welcome. All is welcome. Yeah, I love their tools. My favorite, absolute favorite, and it might be my favorite tool now at this point, is the hand vise. The hand vise that they made is so good and has already made its money back for me, like on how much time it has saved me by not having to constantly pick things back up that get thrown across the room because of how I just naturally work. Being able to have it pinned in place and know that it's not going anywhere no matter what insane thing I'm doing with it, which typically involves cutting. And again, like the reason that is an issue, cutting something in a little vise, is blowback. The force and the pressure when you cut something It has to go somewhere. If you don't account for that, you can get hurt pretty bad, because it might pick your hand, or face or eyes or anything else like that. But again, this is sculpting, doing anything with very small detail stuff, being able to just put it on there, have it there. I can pick it up and I can hold it. This moves. There's just so many things about it that I love. And yeah, pretty much every time I make something, this is getting used. So it's finally, I think, exceeded my love of Starrett's pin vices, which again, I love them just because they are stupid precise machinery. Like, watching the teeth close around a bit is extremely satisfying, because it's just like, yep, that is a perfect fit every time. If it can fit in there and it's round, that thing will perfectly hold it in place. But again, that's not a hobby tool. That's a woodworking tool, which, you know, Display makes pin vices and hand drills. I do not have any currently. They have some electric ones that I really would like to check out, because I have my Dremels, but they are all corded. The ones from Display have a little charging station. I think are even cheaper than the ones that I purchased. So at some point I do need to pick that up. The order that I got from them with a bunch of basic tools like hobby knives, saws, stuff like that should be in soon. It's on its way. That way I can give a proper review of those things. I would assume they are just as high quality based on every other product that I have purchased from them. But again, not sponsored. I would love to be, but I'm going to promote their shit because it's good. And I love it. I wouldn't tell you anything. I wouldn't tell you to do anything with your time or with your money if I don't think it's worth it, because that's fucked up, in my opinion. And there's no amount of money that you can pay me to tell people that I care about something that I know is wrong. So yeah, that's just that. As far as grief, let's get to it. The buildings for... I'll go ahead and show those one more time before we start on this. Just because I'm really happy with them. Show and tell. So yeah, here are two of the parts of the towers. The rest is all outside, in the process of being varnished. These are not, because they do not need to be varnished. At this point, there is no wood on the outside. The inside you're not going to see. I'm going to paint that black. So essentially, I have done the concrete, and then I put down, in the places that I could, the first coat of brown. Thank you, Mowgli. So I'm really pleased with how they are looking, and I should be able to show a little bit more of that tomorrow. Same thing with all the doors and what have you. I'm in the process of painting those, but I'm going to start finishing these up once I do the brown on the buildings. That way I can coat them all at the same time. But again, I'm really pleased, and I should have that done very soon, so we can start getting into what the distillery is actually supposed to be, which is showing games I love and showing everything you need to know to get to from, you know, how did you do that? It's like, well, I go through everything. So, and eventually, once I have enough off of my plate, I will be editing videos and making stuff like that, making sure things look good, because that's important. I get that. It's just, I don't want to half-ass anything. Trying to do Merkborg when the only time I get to put forth effort is pretty much a little bit before I start working on presenting is not how I like to do things. I like to show the process, I like to explain why, and I like to be very confident and comfortable in what I'm doing. So trying to do that on camera is difficult, which is pretty much where I'm saying, you know, hey, I don't do film editing or graphic design, so I have everything I need to do that. I just have to have time to learn how to do it. And that time currently is just spent better working on things like grief, and you know, everything I need to make a game so I can actually start making content that you all would enjoy. And as far as to answer the question of why not finish the other castle first, because with it being a set board, I have already thought of ways to, okay, how do I increase playability on this? There's a lot of options, but then we get back into where we are with Wretched, where I am in the process of still writing and working on a lot of stuff, and I need to organize that, but I would rather spend the time showcasing this kind of stuff and how to do this, because I can do that all right now while building towards something. And then once I have a little bit more time, then I can get to cleaning things up, refining, that kind of stuff. I think everybody else expects that, but I kind of need to explain it for myself, because I'm constantly frustrated that I can't do something to the highest standard that I want at the same time. I'm constantly fighting time. This is my entire battle with time, live, coming at you. 12 hours a week, baby. Which, with that said, my RedWetSkeleton logo shirt is finally on its way. So I will be able to review the quality of that before I put it up on the fourth wall, because, again, I never want to sell anything that I'm not proud of. Yeah, that's just that. I don't like putting things out that are half-assed, and I like to whole-ass what I do. So yeah, we're gonna get there. We just need a little bit more time. So first and foremost, I got out the glue and that stuff, but I think we all know what we're really doing here today, and that is sculpting Grief's face. I'm copying. We have hoodies. I work in a colder environment. Oh, of course I will then. Yeah, if you would like a hoodie. So Johnny should be back with the logo for the distillery sometime this week. But yeah, I could definitely look. I could either do hoodies with, you know, my RedWetSkeleton logo or the Grimdark Distillery logo. But yeah, no, I'm open to anything. You're like, hey, I'd like this, I'd like that, dude. I love putting pictures on things, and I realize that that's like, oh, that's graphic design. It's like, yeah, it's a little easier when I can do the tools, but having to create the whole thing and learning the system, which is why, again, I value Bamboo Labs so much. If you are looking into getting a printer, please do not buy any kind of 3D printer other than a Bamboo Lab. For you, I'm not saying for me, I'm not saying for them, I'm saying for you. If you're trying to get into something, I don't know any other company that makes it as easy to just jump in and not be frustrated that you don't understand why things work the way they do. And they have pretty much printers available at any price point. But yeah, I would not be able to print any of this stuff at anywhere near the quality it is, or, you know, the time. And that's so much of it is time. They are a company that values your time, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I love being able to have my stuff working, and I don't have to stress and worry if I'm not paying attention to it. Am I throwing away time? Why not both, man? I want front and back. RWS on front and go GDD on back, or vice versa. Hell yeah. Actually, yeah, no, that's a great idea. I need that 2XL crew neck sweater drip, brother. All right. All right. Whoo, boy, I didn't even think about sweaters. My wife is a sweater fiend. Love sweaters. So yeah, no, that's definitely something I need to look into. Same thing with stickers. The amount of silly things that I want to put on stickers. Lots of Margot saying just crazy things. Just like, oh, it's like if you get punched so hard you turn into a red, wet skeleton. Rainbow. Just very, I really like the pitch black humor of whatever is being said is one of the most metal things you've ever heard, and it's just the aesthetic doesn't match it. I really love that. I don't know, mildly subversive. I don't know. Who's to say? Who's to say? All right. It's that time again where we get out the epoxy green. And I'm gonna need some gloves. So we're definitely gonna go with epoxy green. Your BRB on a sticker, yeah. So that I thought about that. Chessie, the artist who drew that, I'm sure could come up with a lot of very fun variants and whatnot. But that definitely was something that I was like, yeah. And Kelly was just like, what about buttons? You love buttons. And I was like, I didn't think about that either. I'm just like over here, just like, I have to make stuff. I have to make stuff. I have to make stuff. I have to show people. And then it's just like, anytime I switch gears, it's just like, I don't even know what people want. There we go. But no, thank you. That's all wonderful. Wonderful ideas. I should write them down. I'll do that. I know who I am. We all know who I am at this point. I need to write it down. Still have some cleaning to do on the desk, as you can see. But Rome wasn't built in a day. Or they claim. I'm not sure, though. Aliens. That would be a hard pivot. Just Tom DeLonge the whole thing and just get really, really into like hunting aliens and slowly just change gears on like, it's not a stream about like hobby and grimdark and games. It's actually, it really kind of became him just trying to prove that aliens are real. And I don't think I liked that. That's what one of the reviews would say. Hi, Theodore. You crazy boy. So here's one of the things that I printed yesterday. It is for a bell tower. Which, yeah, I cleaned up the studio and I cleaned up the shop so I can actually move around and not trip over stuff. Ooh, look at this. I'm doing it. Because I know that that's, again, that was me half-assing. Trying to do too many things at once, I lose sight of the main thing I'm trying to focus on. So really have to kind of try to keep myself in check with that and making sure that my work area is clean. So you're not just watching me fumble and fight looking for shit and trip and fall and that kind of stuff is just really better for everybody. So I'm really going to be working on making sure that I do not spend time elsewhere doing things that will not directly impact what I'm doing currently. Self-control, it's hard. Oh boy, I tell you what. But that's half the battle. Hi, Theo. Boy, you are so needy today. Woke up and this guy's just been a cuddle bug all day. Here you go. And now he's gonna run off like he's afraid of a chair. That's your chair, son. Yeah, I think the BRB sticker would be really good. BRB. Oh, it's time for a little bit of yellow stuff. Need-a-tite, as they say. That's not enough. That's nothing. So here's another tip. Learn from my mistakes. That's another thing. I can't stress enough. I'm going to be doing the stuff anyway. Like you'll know if I don't like something because I'll have a very intense opinion of it. This was dumb. Don't put your green stuff in giant mason jars because then you run into this problem where you're like, okay, well now I got to get it. And she's like, well, that's going to be a pain in the ass. But do put them in mason jars. I will say that. I just didn't put it in the right size. If anything, I needed a bigger like handhold too. Like I don't know what something just fell. What the hell was that? What the hell was even that? Oh, it's my keyboard. I didn't fuck anything up, dude. No, we're still going. Okay, cool. Chill, 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 chill. Hi, Theodore. You're back again, huh? Guess who's back? It's Theo. Hey. Hey, do you want to say anything? No, just a He's talkative. Raise all my kids to speak their minds. Margot never stops. Very funny, though. She loves screaming. Also, I really like that it's just like I wake up and I'm like, God, why am I so hot? It's so hot in the bed. I'm so sweaty. And it's just like I look down and it's just like, well, the boys are both just sleeping on my legs. It's just like, that's why. I have 2 little ovens just cooking me all night long. Alrighty. Clean up. Clean up. Everybody everywhere. Clean up, clean up. Everybody do their share. I put that in the wrong. There we go. Organized. I'm doing it. Also, I bought a little apron, a little work apron. I'm not using it right now, but I need to put some pins on it. Got a whole bunch of little pins, and I'm like, man, those will look good there. I didn't even think about that until Kelly was just like, you could put pins on it. And I have a whole bunch of pins that don't fit on my battle vest, so it would be great to have a place for them. And there's one right there. Display. Notice me. I want to help you. Hi, Theodore. He's back. Kind of wanted a nice apron, but they get pricey real fast. Yeah, that one was $9. Like $8.99. And I gotta say, I like it. Again, like everything they make is like, yep, it's for the hobby. So the pockets that it has, and it's good, you know, a nice canvas material. It's got clips, ties in the back. I'll throw it on. Fuck it. And then just tie it in the back. Oh no, I dropped my epoxy sculpt. Huzzah. Yeah, putting on my apron so I don't get messy. But, I mean, also it holds tools and stuff. So, getting up, moving tools, that would be handy. Got to get in that habit of using it. And if I don't start the habit, how does it become a habit? Which is good and bad. Look, like take that, use that how I mean it, not like go out and start bad habits. Don't start bad habits. Man, he just cannot figure out where he wants to be, huh? I know where he wants to be. He's upset that I took him out of my lap. He's a lap guard cat. He is a guard cat. I will say that. You can't get anywhere near the front door or back door of my house that he's not like, you don't want big old kitty like that trying to get you, eat you alive. I need to tie this a little bit better. I'd say it would definitely be very handy while standing, that's for sure. Not really standing though. I'm actually just sitting. I'm going to sit a little bit higher. Here we go. Alrighty. Grief, 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 grief. Okay, actually, I might have to take this off because it is kind of awkward sitting down in an apron. Standing, it would be very good, but I'm not standing right now. I don't want to. I want to sit. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Too high though. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, gonna fill in the eye holes. It's probably gonna be the first thing we're doing. Oh, grief. Yeah, for those of you who missed it earlier, if by some chance you have an interest in seeing the 1954 classic Seven Samurai and haven't done it yet, you should. It's really good. I'm definitely late to the party on that one. But it's just because it's a long movie. It is worth your time, though. Grief, man, you're gonna look awful. I'm so excited. Just can't hide it. I'm not gonna lose control though. I don't think you'll like that. Bum, ba-dum. Grief. Oh, grief. Watched a lot of movies this weekend, and the only one that was actually good was Junkhead. I've not seen Junkhead. What is Junkhead about? I guess I don't want you to have to describe it. I can look it up, but if you would like to describe it, I'm interested. Junkhead. Is it about someone with a junk for a head? I would assume not. That couldn't be right. That'd be like, oh, Eraserhead. Does he have an eraser for a head? He does not. But if you only knew about him from cartoons, you might think. The other night I was trying to think of Twin Peaks, and I was like, yeah, the guy, made Peaky Blinders, and I was like, hold on, that's not what I'm talking about. We also are now caught up on Alien Earth, which is very good if you like a little bit of old industrial sci-fi horror. I would recommend it. That's another thing. It's just like there's so many. Not to go back to the documentary, but that's it. It's just like when you know that something is being made about something you love, it's very hard not to be like, oh my god, it's a stop motion film. Well, that sounds awesome. Okay, that definitely is a pretty alone good sell. I love stop motion animation. I would love to do anything like that, but oh boy, again, time. Gotta know what you have time for. And that's how you very quickly go straight to Parks and Rec level where you're just making the cones of Dunshire. I can't do that. The story is set in a distant future. The story is set in a distant future where humans have received longevity but lost their fertility and are nearly extinct by population decline. Yeah, I'm down with that. That's rad. Junkhead. It looks like a horror film at first and is absolutely not that. Hell yeah. It's very much an adventure comedy. That's great. If anyone missed my recommendation, speaking of like horror comedies, anyone missed my recommendation on Freaky Nights, I think? Is that it? Or no, Freaky Tales, not Freaky Nights. What the hell's Freaky Nights? Like Boogie Nights? Never seen. Love a good adventure comedy. We're going to have to make Grief's legs longer for certain. Like, they're just too short. I like where the knees are. The feet need to come out a little bit further. I just didn't want them to be off the base, but I've kind of come to a couple of different ideas on that while I'm working on it. One, I almost kind of like the idea of them being just like severed, like broken legs. But I also think having them drag behind the base could give it a sense of momentum. I like things being contained on their base for just display, also play, that kind of stuff. Whether or not they're being, you know, used as a model or not, or if just an art piece. I like the idea of a base. Like a frame for a picture. Like a two-dimensional or three-dimensional frame. Like all frames, except this one is taller. A frame for a three-dimensional thing. That's a better way to say what I'm trying to say. Oh, grief. That is fun. Look at you go. We're going to need to put a little bit of muscle on there, but I'm going to grab the Paramore for reference. Because I know I did sculpting and skin. I just need to... Ooh, boy, that's awful. Yeah. Yeah, I sculpted a nose. Okay. So, spooky face. That would be the reference that I'm looking at of the Paramore. Which, of course, has kitty ears. You gotta have kitty ears. Hi. Yeah, so that's gonna be a good little reference. Just keep that right there. So, Grief. Grief does not have a nose, though. But he's got remnants of one. So we can work with that. We want these to be pulled up. We're going to want some lips. Blade's a little sticky. A little bit of a sticky blade situation. Sometimes the cold makes the blade stick to the sheath. A little gladiator there for you. So, I gotta say, talking about disappointment, Gladiator 2. Oof. Oof. That was disappointing. At the same time, you can't really make a movie. Phil told me that he saw Junkhead, and he said that we might have been born from the same egg, and I feel so close to you creatively. The director talking about a conversation with Phil Tippett. Okay. I'm in. Okay, I'll watch it. That's all I need. Phil Tippett is a god of just scratch building creation. His work is just masterful. Love his work. So I'm pretty much just going to be putting in basic musculature in the face, and then we're going to go put skin over top of it. Oh, Phil Tippett's so good. Mad God, if you've not seen Mad God, oh boy, that is worth your time. I would assume if you're here, though, you've probably seen Mad God. But if you have not, you're in for a treat. The movie is absolutely wonderful. It's frustrating how often I can't tell what a noise is upstairs in my house, because it's just like, that was a cat doing something. But what? I have no idea, but I am a little bit frightened. Like I heard that and I'm like, wonder what they're doing. Doesn't sound safe. It's a pretty impressive film when you consider the director did most of the work himself and he had zero experience prior. That's amazing. Yeah, that's extremely impressive. Yeah, that's a very good sell. That's a very, very easy sell on that one. Nah, I'll do that afterwards. I don't need to do that right now. Right now I need to work on putting some green stuff around the face. Just thinking to myself that I should. What are they doing up there? Probably being rowdy, if I had to guess. Wrestling, playing with toys, running around, being silly babies. That's what they do. I'm the proud pop. No, that sounds awesome. I love when people just get up and do the thing. Get up and do the thing. Yep, okay. Making sure. We do, in fact, need to fill that in. And we do. Tee-hee-hee. Partially, at least. Because we're going to pull the skin real far back. That looks awful already. Yay! It's awful. Grief, 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 grief. I had a pretty intense mental breakthrough with, I think I could probably go and enjoy beating Sekiro now. But I think for a long time I just could not get past beating the final alternate boss, because it's just like I didn't want the game to be over and I didn't want the story to end that way for them. The sculptor is just very... the sculptor is one of my favorite characters from any game. And as this is how I carved the Buddha, I found a lot to relate in just that depiction. That character. far as trying to find peace. So seeing it turn into what it does is very rough. And I don't think I was just, my heart was not in trying to beat it. Whereas like my favorite boss fight, Maria, it's just like, yeah, no, she doesn't want to be there. So it's not like I feel bad. It's feel bad, but it's just like, okay, well, you're doing some kind of good, kind of. I guess the same could be said about the sculpture, though. And I really need to finish Sekiro, so. We want to put a little bit of muscle around the jaw, right? Yeah, we do. Just a little bit, though. Get off my blade. There's a second film that just came out too called Junk World, but I don't think it has an English release yet. Ah, what is the like original language? Oh grief, you're doing it. You're getting real spoopy. Spoopiest breed in the tool shed. It's where he lives. Don't go in the tool shed. But the first film, Japanese, okay, first voice acting is all grunts and it's subtitled. All grunts. All grunts, no fury. That's probably the absolute opposite. All grunts, all fury. Yeah, we'll definitely go in. Man, grief. Ooh. I'm enjoying the progress we've made already. No, that sounds awesome. Yeah, stop motion, Japanese film. Phil Tippett was like, "Yep, this is great. I'm along for that ride." Is it available to watch online anywhere easily accessed or otherwise? Or I would assume it's probably available to stream somewhere. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful news. We're just trying to get the musculature here. That's going to be good. That's going to be good. I don't remember what that little thing's called, but that's definitely what we're trying to replicate there with a little piece of sinew-esque musculature. The lips will pull up over that. Bought it digital on Amazon, but I think it was streaming on like Tubi or something. Tendons. Yeah, the little... there's a name for the thing that connects your lips to like the meat inside your mouth, essentially. That little thing at the top. I don't remember it though. Oh, I have no clue. Yeah, there's, I'm trying to remember. I'm not going to guess it though. That's for sure. Yep, okay, that's looking good. Right there, yep. A couple little dots. I think that's... yeah, that's good. Just a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. There we go. Looking awful, Grief. Looking good, looking good. Yeah. Let me see, can I... yeah, hey, there we go. That's way better. That is way better. Better, better, better. Yeah, that's an awful looking face if I've ever seen one, I tell you what. Hoo boy, I tell you what. Grief, 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 grief. Just a little bit of muscle. And just a little bit of meat on them cheeks. Do the thing. Okay. Yeah. Awful. I've got to pee. It is BRB o'clock. I'll be right back. One momento. Oh no, I clicked the wrong place. One moment. And we're back. Ba-doo-doo. Put some muscle on those bones. Just a little bit though, because we want to make sure it's not too much. Fuzzy, get off there. That was me talking to a fuzz on my hand, not my son. He's elsewhere, doing his thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get the omnisphere device figured out. Omnidirectional device. That way, I can properly show how to use it to hold big things. This also has a little more heft to it. Distribution is just a very odd thing, the weight on these models, so I'm not faulting it by any means. Also, I just opened the box and messed around with it for the first time, so I can't expect it to be perfect because it is, you gotta learn how to use the tool. But my hopes are high. High hopes. That's looking good. Very awful. Oh, good grief. Oh, bad grief. Some little kitty hairs in there. Get those out. Or not. Don't mean to be not talking. Just trying to get this face sculpted in. Make sure I put the muscles, get the shape as close as I want it to be before I start putting skin on. It's trying to make sure that what is on the outside will fit correctly to make sure that the skin pulls the way I want it to. little bit this way, but not completely pull it off. I love sculpting faces, especially big scary ones. I do like making small ones too though. Small scary faces are also, faces are probably my favorite. There's just a lot of room to do things in various different ways. Same kind of skills, but like using them differently and getting a very different effect. So the heads and faces are always one of the things that I really like to take the time on, sculpt something very unique. Essentially, we were pulling that little muscle up through here. Make sure it connects where we want it to. That I probably should have filled in, but I think I can make that work without filling it all the way in. And it may even be more awful. More awful, you say? I do. Blah. And we might just fill it in just for, because the skin's going to cover it. Yeah, we might just have to do that. I have this set on top chat, not live chat. Jesus. I am so sorry. Tendons. Oh, Nicholas. Sounds like a death metal song. But when they do them pig squeals, greep, greep, greep. Y'all have a good one. Oh shit. Bye, Johnny. Thanks for popping in, man. I absolutely did not. I had it on top instead of live. That is my bad. Shit. Johnny be here for a while. Yo, Donkey. How'd you like that movie? Him and his own. Yeah, man. Okay, I am so sorry. I had this thing set on the wrong setting. Shit. My bad, Johnny. And everybody else. I saw that it was moving, but I didn't see where you had responded. I was looking at the bottom. Lesson learned. Make sure. Gotta make sure. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie a lot. I yapped about that at the beginning, but yeah, the Grim in the Dark absolutely gets my approval. It is definitely something, if you're into grim dark art, it is absolutely worth your time. I don't know why only his messages get filtered out. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm assuming because it was like, I had it set to top. So I think depending on who responds and how much they've responded, and I don't know, because I see you guys have little numbers on there, but I don't know if it's per chat, if it's by channel, if it's, I'm assuming it's by chat, like by video. So it keeps that kind of closer to the bottom where I'm like always looking. But then there's all kinds of factors of, oh, it's just YouTube shit. As they say, I believe that's the technical word for it. Ah, it's just YouTube shit. Yeah, I didn't really want to fill in that entire spot, but I don't really know any other way to do it and get what I'm trying to have done correctly. All right, grief. Quit going out the other side. Definitely should have filled it. It's okay. We'll make do. And by that I mean with something other than just epoxy green, but it's fine. I prefer to do most of the face work in epoxy green just in case I need to do some detail. Very excited to see how much I can get done on 1490 Doom stuff today. I'm getting very close to being able to like start playing stuff and showcasing it properly. And that's very exciting for me, hopefully for everyone too. Get some games going in the old studio area while I do the building stuff in the shop area. Yeah, that's awful. That is absolutely horrifying. Yeah, I gotta make sure that I always have that stuff on live and not top because I feel bad. I don't want to miss anybody's addition to the conversation. Bad host. I don't want to be a bad host. Yes. There we go. See, this side did not need as much, so I get to actually put muscle and stuff and know that I'm not just wasting my time because I'm already covered up. And that looks great. Just tighten it in here. Yeah. Tighten it up. Come around the back. Push that up against the side. Push this down. And yeah, that looks right. That looks right. It's awful. Alrighty, so now I got this little bit. Get on. Actually, nah, I need to use that little bit around the mouth. Fell in that little hole. I'll grab it. Get out of there. Get out of them. Right there. Yeah. Oh my goodness grief. Yeah. Very much inspired mouthwise by the Lich from Adventure Time. I love the Lich's design. His mask that ends just above his teeth is one of my favorite parts of that character. It's just so horrifying looking. A proper big bad. Oh no! Put my hand right on there. Come on. I know, Margot. I'm sorry, Margot. We already covered the documentary. Are you kidding me? I know you liked it and you watched the whole thing. Margot did watch it. Margot loves watching TV. If you didn't know that about Margot. There are certain shows that she definitely likes more. I know, you have your own favorites. Her favorites involve typically birds, bird feeders, squirrels. Squirrels, I know you love squirrels. But I know you also love things that aren't just that. They all love Encanto. Like, put Encanto on, they'll just sit there and just... I know. Did you want to say hi? You can come over here and I can pick you up and you can see everybody. Well, they can see you. I can see them too. This works both ways. Got one of them two-way cameras. Hi, Margot. They said hi. Mowgli said hi, Margot. She's just gone now. She's just gone. I bet I can find her. Hey! Don't pick me up. Don't pick me up. Don't pick me up. Oh, shoot. You picked me up. I know. Hey, princess. Ah! That's a box. There we go. Hi, everyone. Proper kiss technique, and then the release. Okay. For those of you who do not know the proper touching technique, it's 2 fingers. And that is when you go to any aquarium and they are like, oh yeah, you can touch the animals. And it's just like, you got to make sure you have the proper touch technique, which I always find very fun, just seeing all the signs. I know. Or says, I don't go to the aquarium. I don't like to leave the house. Bring the aquarium to me. Yes. Margot upset that the Grimdark movie wasn't about her? A little bit, just a little bit. I can't stress that enough. She was like, well, how the hell are they going to make that without me? I feel like I'm about as grimdark as it gets. So anywho, I jump down in the trenches and I start bashing heads because I just like doing that. She just loves killing. Mainly spiders, mainly brown recluse spiders. And I say that specifically because wolf spiders don't really seem to do anything for her. She's like, ah, nah, game recognized game. They're good. We had a very large wolf spider that Theo found yesterday, and I cannot stress enough how much Margot couldn't give a single shit. But Dad, I'm grim and dark. Why aren't they searching for me? They do also know where you are. They think they do. The grimmest and the darkest, the search for Margot. Margot, called Togrim, called Jumbo, called Grumbo, called Margoo, called Margot, called Matilda. She is Jumbo. Every now and then I like to make a good Beowulf reference. I think a good Beowulf reference is pretty important. We have Black Widows here. Oh man, yeah, so we've got them here. I'm just glad that, like, for some reason, I mean, I know the reason. The reason is that I'm in a basement, which is the worst part about being in a basement is you're in a basement. Brown recluses, hot damn, they love basements. They're like, man, basements? I don't mind if I do. It's like there's already one recluse in here. There's not enough room for two. Brown or not. Yes. That, ooh, that's good. Just a couple little dips. And the musculature. Bring that down a little bit. Because I want to make sure that the cheekbones and by the mandible are definitely accentuated. I'm thinking about how awful this is going to look with the skin on it, and I'm very excited. I'm just feathering lightly. Take a little peek with my true eyes. Since the moment I discovered the weakness of my flesh, it always disgusted me. Slowly becoming one with the machine. For those of you who have not played Mechanicus, the opening credit, or the opening like intro scene is definitely worth your time. Just to YouTube that. It's very rad. Very, very grimdark. I enjoyed Mechanicus. I enjoy a lot of turn-based strategy games. Especially like dungeon crawler-esques. I have so many that I still need to play. That's the thing. Time. I wish I just had more time. That's like the one thing I can't get more of, you know what I mean? Which is, I guess, why I just really am compelled to try to make sure people use their time wisely. Because I struggle with it all the time. But it's time. Time jokes. Grief, we don't need any of your jokes right now. I don't think I can handle it. think the black widows here are getting outcompeted by the brown widows. I did not know there were brown widows. Yeah, the black widows are gnarly. Anything that has like poison, venom, is just horrifying. Brown recluses, though, are absolutely one of the things that's just like living in Kentucky, you learn to be afraid of very early. Because they can straight up kill you, a little spider. And they are in places, that's the thing, like here, yeah, they make these crazy looking spiky XX. That's horrifying. Well, I'm gonna have to look into that. With like black widows, we have them here, but there's very specific spots. They aren't that bad. I don't think anyone has died from them recently. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, the black widows here, you have to go looking for them. I can't stress that enough. That's what makes brown recluses horrifying with like where I live, is they're rampant. And they are not typically in a spot you're like, oh, I bet there's a spider over there. No, they like live in places that you like to live, as long as there is X amount of moisture or places for them to hide. So like the garage, my garage has so many, and I really need to properly seal the basement, and that would probably do a very big impact in how many of them I actually see. But last night we had what Kelly was very afraid, and I was very afraid. And we're like, oh my gosh, look at the size of that brown recluse. And she's like, nope, it's just a wolf spider. So he lives outside now, but I can't say enough. Like that's some growth. Kelly had severe arachnophobia when we met. And at one point in time, I was actively just like, I really want a tarantula. Now I'm just like, I don't think I have the time for a tarantula, but the whole thing with the tarantula is the same thing that like with my bonsai. It's just like, I love the idea of something that could outlive me, and how little need it could possibly have to live that long. And like, man, tarantulas are wild for like how long you would I would not guess that a spider could live 50 years. That's insane. But yeah. The circle of life. Sometimes you get some new boots. When your friend gets shot by a las cannon and turns into dust. Oh no, now comes the Space Marine with a las cannon. Okay, well, Grieveland just finished printing something. Lobsters are technically immortal. Are they? I don't. We also get these spiders called Noble False Widows, and they look very cool. That also sounds rad. I will have to check that out. No, that sounds very rad. Okay, I got to show you guys this absolutely nuts piece of the cathedral that just finished printing. Come on. Holy shit. Oh yeah, also Grebo. I guess Grebo wants some hair, but not all the hair. So I got to get that figured out. But they decided to inform me while printing the first bell from one of the bell towers that has fallen through in this giant cathedral. I'll go grab that so you can see. And it'll be a quick fix. I came downstairs and I saw the spaghetti, the strings of like resin everywhere, and I was like, oh shit. God, this one is nuts. So this is the first piece. They just lose energy when they shed. If they get too big, that's why they die. That's crazy, and I love that. So this is just a giant bell. I was to say for scale, here's here's an average size kind of human shape for scale. very big bell. This is where it messed up, as you can see. So there was just like a lot of spaghetti, and I've got to do some cleaning on it, and probably do some real thread as opposed to this, but I'll leave that and might just put more over top of it. I'll make it look good. I'll make it look good, I promise. But yeah, I got to fix this. This is pretty cool. The other one that just finished is nuts. So it's that one clearly fell out, and I have not cleaned this up at all. This is just straight off the printer. Literally, it just stopped a second ago. But yeah, this thing is crazy. It's got, you know, part of the roof that fell with it through the tower, and then the bell. So it is just, I'm constantly impressed by this terrain. I'm so excited about it. We are, once the bell tower finishes, I have one or two other pieces, and then we are finally on to the apse, like the heart of the cathedral, which has like the altar, the main altar, and all that stuff. But I'm very impressed by all the models that come out of here. Yeah, I showed the bell tower stairs earlier. But yeah, it is 10:04. I think I'm going to stop here, guys. But thank you guys so much for hanging out and keeping me company while working on this and listening to my slightly disordered review of The Grim in the Dark. Hopefully it was helpful for anyone who is curious if they should spend their time watching it. You should. I'll figure out the device, because I really need to get that figured out, because it will definitely be a useful tool. Man, grief is looking gnarly. It's wonders what a little bit of meat on the bones will do for you. Turn you into a real nightmare fuel. Had a great time. See you next time. Thank you for the stream. Thank you guys. Again, I'm gonna look at some lobsters, and I'll go ahead and I'll make mental notes of like merch and stuff, because like, yeah, all those ideas sounded great. Yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you, Mowgli. Thank you, Possum. Thank you, Johnny. I'm so sorry that I didn't hear you. And Adam. I think that is everybody that popped in today. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, I say it every time, and I'll just keep saying it. Your time is the most precious resource you have, or commodity, depending on how you want to look at it. So the fact that you spend it with me, like, is very, very special. I really appreciate it. Be good to yourselves and to each other. Take care. Sit pretty. I will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a good one. Thank you again. Bye, friends.